Can I grab that? Can I grab that and do that?
Well, you have to finish.
Yeah, we'll do that. Oh, okay.
What's going on?
Woo! How we doing? Come on, come on. How we doing? Good to see you.
What's up, guys?
Wow! Woo! How we doing? My man. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Huh. Let's keep going. Wow. Thunderstruck on a live band. That's what I'm talking about. How we doing today? Let me tell you something. We have been on a 9-day tour. 9 days ago, we took off, we landed in, please take a seat. I'm not gonna be too long, but take a seat. We launched a 9-day tour. We were in the Indo-Pacific to get a brief of the area. Went to Japan, went to Malaysia. In Malaysia, we had the ASEAN conference where you meet with country after country after country after country, every single country, to include China and Russia, you name it. And then we went, where did we go next? We went to Vietnam, got a chance, 30 years of relations with Vietnam, and then of course here. It's a lot. You travel a lot, different time zones, you know all that. Away from your family, away from your job, you're working, stuff's going on there. And the whole time, I said to our team, whole time I knew we were going to get to end here, which is a reminder of exactly why we do this job, is all the men and women out here. Yes, I sit in a lot of meetings, talking to a lot of leaders about a lot of significant stuff, military to military relations and political dynamics and treaties and alliances and all these things that are critically important to the defense of our homeland and the American people. It's our responsibility, it's my job. But when I look out at this group, that and our staff and our whole team, we are reminded of exactly why we do it and who we do it for. It actually wasn't that long that I was sitting in your seat, having been there, understanding a little bit of what you go through, having kids crying in my house. Haven't had that long ago either. Don't worry about it, by the way. I've been there. The stresses, the anxieties, the frustrations, the questions. Is the mission clear? How long will it be? How long are my orders cut for? Where do I get chow? I understand a little bit of where you're at. And I'd like to think that at the Secretary of War in our office, we're connecting the strategic to the tactical. We're connecting defending the nation, deterring our enemies, peace through strength, with an understanding of the Americans who do it every single day. The heavy lifting that you undertake. Because I could talk about deterrence all day long, all I want. But there is no deterrence without all of you. I'm looking in the eyes of deterrence, the faces and the families of deterrence, of the sacrifice that's required to keep us free. You can talk about peace through strength, but you got to have somebody that does the strength part. We're the strength department. You're the strength department. And there's sort of three pillars to how President Trump frames it. He talks about peace through strength. You don't get strength through appeasement. You don't get peace through appeasement. You don't get peace through weakness. You get peace through strength, through being strong, having capabilities, hard power, and the ability to deliver it alongside your allies. He also talks always about America first. Now, America first does not mean America alone. We've got our great rock partners here that you work with every single day, and I've had a chance to meet a lot of them over the course of the last day. America first does not mean America alone, but it does mean putting the American people, American citizens and America's sovereignty first. We know what we're defending, not academic and vague ideas of interests. American sovereignty, the American people, American vital interests, close with and to destroy the enemy if necessary on behalf of the American people. America first is something I get a chance to watch President Trump do every single day in the Oval Office or in meetings with foreign leaders. Sometimes you step back and you go, why did he take that approach? And then he said, well, if you filter it through the lens of America first, that's exactly what you would do. That's how you would handle the situation. So it's peace through strength, America first, and the third one is just common sense. You benefit from a lot of common sense. We don't do the political correct nonsense. And that's what we've tried to insert into the pillars of what the War Department is about. I gave a little speech a couple of weeks ago to senior generals and admirals and senior enlisted. And it was about the warrior ethos, which to me is just common sense in a military context. It's an understanding that we should be good at the basics and not be distracted by things that aren't a focus of warfighting. Get back to readiness, get back to accountability, training, warfighting, lethality, the basics, discipline, and not try to do other things with our formations. And that's why I've always said, and it's not a political statement, it's a military statement. The dumbest phrase in military history is that our diversity is our strength. Because I look out in this audience and I see a lot of different Americans from a lot of different backgrounds. Rich, poor, country, city, black, white, male, female, groups from all different backgrounds. But what makes us strong is not our differences, it's our unity of purpose. It's our shared mission. It's our oath to the Constitution. It's the fact that we will fight for each other, for the man and the woman and the right on our left, in ways the American people oftentimes can't quite understand. It's hard for civilians to sometimes understand that ethos, that understanding that I will give everything up to and including my life for this mission and for the men and women I serve with. And it's not about the differences of our background, it's about red, white, and blue. It's about who we are. And President Trump puts it simply. He said, we're back to a meritocracy. We're colorblind and gender neutral and merit-based. We want the absolute best in any way, in every profession, across the board, regardless of your background. To me, that's the establishment of the warrior ethos. That gives NCOs and leaders the ability to say, here's the standard, let's go meet it. Nothing else is in the way. And when you do that, you create inside your formations the fighting spirit necessary to do really difficult things. Really difficult things that most people can't connect to and don't understand. In the dead of night, the fog of war, on the Korean Peninsula, on the DMZ, which we had a chance to see, split-second decisions that most people in air-conditioned offices can't relate to. You've got to have that fighting spirit and that understanding of discipline in order to be comfortable and confident inside those moments with your formations. That's our job to give you, is that kind of confidence by restoring the warrior ethos. Second thing we're doing is we're rebuilding the military. We've spent historic amounts of American taxpayer dollars on beautiful equipment and hopefully on making your lives better as well. It's not just about the systems. Yes, we're the most powerful, the most lethal, the most prepared military in the world, but it's also about ensuring the quality of life, the pay, the basics, the barracks, you name it. We're trying to address it so that when Americans raise their right hand to serve, they have the very best. Not only are you not in a fair fight ever because you've got the best equipment, but you're the most prepared and most taken care of as well. That's one of our promises and our commitments to you at our office, is that we care about delivering that. So when you look at budgets and spreadsheets and everything, yes, it's about the best fighters and the best bombers and stealth and hypersonics and aircraft carriers and submarines. You name it, we're investing in it because the next generation is going to have the best. It's also about setting you up for success because you are our most effective weapon. So it's restoring the warrior ethos, rebuilding our military, and then reestablishing deterrence. For the last couple of years, there have been some big moments on the world stage where America hasn't quite looked so good. Whether it's the debacle in the way we left Afghanistan, or it's what happened on October 7th with Hamas thinking they could take advantage, or the war in Ukraine, which never would have happened under the first administration of President Trump. Our enemies saw weakness, took advantage. And President Trump has given me the mandate to say no more. The world will understand where America stands. Take, for example, the Houthis. It's been a principle for a long time that freedom of navigation is something that the United States of America maintains. Our ships can sail in international waters without being contested. And suddenly that was contested, and we weren't sailing in certain places because of pirates. And President Trump said, no, we're going to make sure freedom of navigation is reestablished. And so for 50 days, the Houthis felt the hell and fury of the United States military, and they eventually cried uncle and said, you know what, go ahead and sail your ships through. That means something. The world pays attention. America's word matters. President Trump says you've got 60 days to Iran to give up your nuclear capabilities, and on day 60, Israel takes action. 11 days later, 7 B-2s fly for 37 hours from Missouri in the United States of America over Iran, drop 14 precision 30,000-pound bombs down shafts the size of half this carpet in the middle of the night without our enemies ever detecting them. In fact, not a single enemy radar or fighter or even the media knew what was going until President Trump put out a truth in the dead of night, saying we've already been in and out and destroyed your nuclear capabilities. That is reestablishing deterrence. Or our southwest border, where 20 million folks, we don't know who they are, where they're coming from, crossed our border under the previous administration. President Trump said to the War Department, reestablish deterrence by working with Border Patrol and DHS to secure the border. And right now, 0 people are coming across our southwest border. Because you're not, as President Trump says, if you don't have borders, you're not a country. And defending our homeland is incredibly important. Reestablishing deterrence is telling narco-terrorists in the Caribbean or in the Eastern Pacific that you're not allowed to poison the American people with impunity. That when we have designated terrorist organizations trafficking drugs headed for the United States to kill hundreds of thousands of Americans, we will take action. We will treat those cartels like the Al-Qaeda of the Western Hemisphere, and we'll put them at the bottom of the Caribbean. And we have, in defense of the American people. It's reestablishing deterrence. You see, President Trump is a peacemaker. He settled 8 wars in counting. He believes in peace, but he knows that peace only comes through strength. It only comes through that establishment of deterrence. And that, ladies and gentlemen, great Americans and our allies, is why you are here right now on this peninsula. You are on the bleeding edge of deterrence, of American strength, of following through on American commitments, 72 years of the U.S.-ROC alliance, right here. Your forefathers were on this same peninsula defending this same alliance, understanding that our word matters and our capabilities matter, just as much today as it was 25 years ago. You do that in ways that most Americans cannot and will not understand. You know that. You know your friends, you know families, you know others back home. They may not know where you are or why you're there or what you're doing. And they don't always need to necessarily, but you do. I do. Generations of Americans understand. And I know that I'm looking out at the real 1%. The media likes to talk about the elites, the 1%. That's you guys. It's all of you. And frankly, I pray that one of my kids someday, my oldest is in 10th grade, and my youngest is 8, that one of them or a number of them would make the decision to, the most honorable decision I think they could in a secular context, other than following their Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Other than that, is serving their nation in uniform. Defending something greater than themselves. Giving the prime of their lives to something tough, gritty, difficult, uncomfortable, in far-flung places, away from the creature comforts, in uncertain environments. That's the real elite of America. And so we at the Department of War, we get the privilege of serving you. We work for you. My job is to support you, is to set you up for success. In every tactical environment, meaning you got what you need, you have the rules of engagement to be aggressive, to be effective, to close with and destroy the enemy. At the operational level, where you've got the right formations, you've got the right guidance, and the strategic level, where the umbrella and understanding of America first and peace through strength sets you up for success. And you tie all that together, and you've got an opportunity to defend our homeland, deter our enemies, allow our allies to step up and do more. That's what we're doing in Europe with NATO spending and the allies spending more. We're seeing the same thing out here with our allies here in Korea stepping up, and Japan stepping up, and the Philippines stepping up, Australia stepping up, more countries stepping up to say, hey, we need to do more as well. American leadership encourages and begets more courage. And then, of course, we're investing a lot in our defense industrial base. If we can't make the things you need fast enough, then we can't resource the fight in real time. So there's a lot of levels to what we're trying to do, but we're doing it for all of you. And I would just close by saying that it is a real privilege to get a chance to watch President Trump operate, to watch his instincts, to watch his clarity, his bluntness, his deal-making, and the way that he creates opportunities out of environments where other folks would back down or say, we can't make that happen. He'll say, well, let me show you. But the one thing he told me two things when I took this job. The first thing he said was, Pete, you're going to have to be tough as shit. Sorry, kids. That has proven to be correct. We try. It's all politics and media nonsense, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You guys take on the real thing. We'll take on the politics and the media. He also said, I want you to reestablish the warrior ethos, which is what we're doing. But the other thing he tells me is every time we meet with the troops, tell them we have their back. That is all I ever wanted when I was a young rifle platoon leader, was to know that my company commander, my battalion commander, brigade commander, that they would have my back. If I was in a challenging situation, if I needed a medevac or I was on an offensive or in a deep, no matter what, if a tough decision had to be made, that they would back me up. That if I had to take a risk and it didn't go right and I did it for the right reasons, they would have my back. That if I had to discipline someone to maintain standards, they would have my back. Made a challenging decision, have my back. And I can tell you, your commander-in-chief has your back. I have your back. He tells the troops all the time when he sees them, I love you. And he does, and I feel the same. It is a love and a depth of appreciation for what you do that drives us every single day at the War Department. And we didn't rename it for show. We renamed it because war is something very decisive. It's something you do with a clear objective. It's something you choose to do. Defense can become nebulous and nonstop without clarity. If you choose to go to war, it's because you've decided to defend the interests of the United States of America. And there should be a clear end state to that. You should be given everything you need to win, to fight and to win. So that's why we believe in the War Department, in the warrior ethos, and having your back in the process. So if you would, tell your wife or your husband, your father or your mother, tell them how much I appreciate them as well for supporting you. No soldier, no airman, no Marine, no sailor, no guardsman, no ally serves by themselves. It's your spouse, it's your kids, it's your grandkids, it's your parents, it's your neighbors, it's your pastor, it's your community that support you as well. Pass my gratitude to them also. But most importantly, thank you. We were tired. It's been a long trip. Kind of ready to go. But then I knew this was here, and it's going to energize the heck out of all of us. And you've got great leadership here in General Brunson, and you got to hear from Chairman Kane. A B-2 strike doesn't happen without a guy like that understands how to put it all together. We've got incredible civil-military cooperation, which gives us an opportunity to do the kind of big things that we need to do in this moment with a big, bold president to make sure America is positioned for the next fight, whatever that may look like, that next enemy that takes us on. Our job is to make tough calls and, in the process, set you up for success. So thanks for everything you're doing. God bless you. God bless everything you do, and we will have your back. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Come on up. You want to bring them up? We're going to give out some coins.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, the Secretary will recognize excellence from across the Tri-Command and components for their contributions in defending the homelands of the United States of America and our allies and partners.
네, 헤게세스 미 전쟁부 장관께서는 어제 저와 같이 JS를 방문해서 남북의 여러 가지 현안에 대해서 또 진단에 대해서 많은 대화와 이야기를 나눴습니다. 또 특히 오늘 57차 연례안보 회의에서도 한미 동맹의 중요성과 또 미래의 가치에 대해서 심도 있는 논의를 했습니다. 그래서 다음과 같은 몇 가지 사항에 대해서 말씀을 드리고 공동 합의문에 대해서는 아직 조인트 팩트 시티가 양국 간에 지금 진행 중인 관계로 추후에 합의문은 발표하도록 하겠습니다. 네, 안규백 대한민국 국방부 장관입니다. 먼저 대한민국 국방부를 방문해 주시고 헤게세스 장관님과 미측 대표된 여러분께 환영과 따뜻한 인사의 말씀을 드립니다. 헤게세스 장관님께서 취임한 이후에 세계 최강의 미국을 더욱 강력하고 보다 효율적인 군대로 만들기 위한 과감한 개혁 추진 중인 것을 높이 평가합니다. 이러한 계획을 통해서 강화된 억제력이 한반도와 영내 평화 안정에 증대한 기여를 할 것으로 확신합니다. 오늘 저와 헤게세스 장관은 한미 양국 새 정부 출범 이후 처음으로 개최된 57차 한미 안보 연례회의에서 다시 한번 굳건한 한미 군사동맹과 견고한 연합 방위 태세를 확인했습니다. 나아가 상호 신뢰와 협력을 바탕으로 급변하는 안보 환경과 위협에 대응하고 미래지향적이고 호혜적인 동맹 발전을 위한 국방 분야 협력 방안을 도출하기로 많은 토의와 이야기를 나눴습니다. 이후에 상세한 내용은 추후에 합의문이 나오는 대로 발표하도록 하겠습니다.
The U.S. Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, and I together visited GSA yesterday. We had a discussion on a wide range of topics, including the security issues on the Korean Peninsula. Also, during our 57th ROC U.S. Security Consultative meeting, this meeting served as a great opportunity for us to have an in-depth discussion on the importance of the ROC U.S. alliance and also the future direction of our shared efforts. In regards to the joint communique, as our joint fact sheet between our two countries has not been finalized yet, the joint communique will be issued after the final issuance of the joint fact sheet. Now I'd like to move on to our opening remarks. So this is the Minister of National Defense of Republic of Korea, Ahn Gyu-back. First, I'd like to extend my warm welcome and sincere appreciation to Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and the members of the United States delegation for visiting the Ministry of National Defense of the Republic of Korea. I highly commend Secretary Hegseth for the bold reforms he has pursued since assuming office to make the United States Armed Forces, already the strongest in the world, even more powerful and efficient. I'm confident that the stronger deterrence brought by these reforms will make a significant contribution to peace and stability on the Korean Peninsula and across the region. Today, Secretary Hegseth and I reaffirm the robust ROC U.S. military alliance and the steadfast combined defense posture during the 57th ROC U.S. Security Consultative meeting, the first convened since the inauguration of our new administrations. Furthermore, based on mutual trust and cooperation, we discussed ways to respond to the rapidly changing security environment and emerging threats, and also identified avenues for defense cooperation that will advance our alliance in a future-oriented and mutually beneficial manner. I will be able to provide more detailed information about our meeting after we release our joint communique.
Well, good afternoon to everybody, especially our friends in Korea. Minister Ahn, thank you for hosting the 57th Security Consultative meeting and for hosting our trip to the JSA. It was my first time in Seoul as Secretary of War, and it's an honor to be here at a critical moment in the history of the U.S. ROC alliance.
안녕하십니까. 안 장관님 그리고 한국에 계신 모든 친구 여러분들 만나서 뵈서 반갑습니다. 57차 안보협의회를 주최해 주신 데 대해 감사를 드립니다. 미국 전쟁부 장관으로서 서울에 처음으로 방문한 것이고 한미동맹에 있어서 역사적으로 중요한 순간에 이 자리에 있게 돼서 큰 영광으로 생각합니다.
Of course, we face, as we both acknowledge, a dangerous security environment, but our alliance is stronger than ever before, 72 years strong. And during the security consultative meeting, Minister Ahn and I agreed to remain clear-eyed about the threats that we face. And that's why we have to continue, as we do every single day. As we saw at the DMC with Korean and U.S. troops stand shoulder to shoulder working together. We need to increase our defense cooperation by taking a common sense approach that is grounded in realism, building on the strong leadership of our presidents, President Trump and President Lee. And President Trump wants allies to be strong. And the Republic of Korea is a model ally.
네. 그리고 지금 우리가 아주 엄중한 안보 환경을 직면하고 있지만 우리 한미동맹은 그 어느 때보다 굳건하다는 말씀을 자신 있게 드릴 수 있겠습니다. 이것이 오늘 열렸던 안보협의회에서도 저희들이 공감했던 내용이고 우리가 직면하는 위협에 대해서 우리가 눈을 똑바로 뜨고 직시해야 된다는 점에 대해서 안 장관님과 저는 전적으로 동의할 수 있었습니다. 특별히 우리는 이재명 대통령님과 트럼프 대통령님의 강력한 리더십 하에서 이러한 한미동맹을 강력하게 유지할 수 있을 것으로 생각하고 특별히 트럼프 대통령님께서는 동맹과 파트너 국가들이 역할을 강화하고 많은 역할을 하는 것에 대해서 강조하고 계신데 그런 측면에서 한국은 정말 모범이 되는 모델 동맹 국가라고 말씀드릴 수 있겠습니다.
Minister Ahn and I discussed practical steps that we can take to modernize the alliance. And I'm greatly encouraged by Minister Ahn's commitment to increase defense spending and to make greater investments in ROK military capabilities. This includes critical missile defense and space capabilities that our forces need to preserve the peace and prevail, God forbid, in war.
예, 그래서 안 장관님과 저는 많은 실질적인 것에 대해서 논의할 수 있었고 의견을 같이 했는데 특별히 안 장관님께서 대한민국 정부가 방위비 지출을 증가하시고 핵심적인 군사 능력, 이를테면 미사일, 사이버 그리고 필수한 능력 부분에서 군사적 투자를 강화하시기로 말씀하신 데 대해서 제가 많이 고무되어 있음을 말씀드립니다. 그래서 평상시에 우리가 계속해서 우위를 유지하고 하나님께 간절히 기도하건대 일어나지 않았으면 하지만 혹시라도 유사시에 우리가 반드시 승리할 수 있는 만반의 대세를 갖출 수 있을 것입니다.
We agreed that these investments would accelerate the ROK's ability to lead its conventional deterrence and defense against North Korea. And Minister Ahn and I also discussed strengthening our readiness by energizing our defense industrial cooperation across the alliance. For the first time in history, we agreed to demonstrate the ability to maintain and repair U.S. warships here in Korea. And doing this will harness this country's world-class shipbuilding capabilities.
예, 그리고 이를 위해서 우리가 계속해서 방산 부분에서의 협력을 강화해 나갈 것이라는 점을 저희들이 확인할 수 있었고 특별히 기쁘게 생각하는 것은 미국 역사상 최초로 바로 이 한국 땅에서 미국 군함의 수리와 유지를 직접 진행할 수 있게 되었다라는 것을 말씀드리게 돼서 기쁘게 생각하고 이것은 한국이 세계 유수의 세계적 수준의 조선 역량을 갖고 계신 것을 입증해 주는 사례라고 믿습니다.
Maintaining warships in theater will also ensure our most lethal capabilities remain ready to respond to any crisis. Soon, we also plan to expand our cooperation to maintaining ground equipment in Korea as well. And doing this work in peacetime keeps our forces ready and it keeps them combat credible. Minister Ahn and I also agreed on the value of having our defense research labs and scientists work more closely together. And this cooperation ensures our warfighters have the most advanced and lethal technologies.
예, 그리고 군함과 관련돼서 전구 차원에서 모든 준비를 마칠 뿐만 아니라 살상력을 충분히 제고하고 모든 위기에 대처할 수 있는 준비를 갖추는 것을 저희들이 진행하기로 합의한 바 있습니다. 그리고 앞으로는 이런 것을 조선업에서 머무는 것이 아니라 지상 장비 부분에까지 곧 확대하는 것을 저희들이 함께 공감하였습니다. 이렇게 평상시에 저희들이 준비태세를 만반에 갖춰서 하게 되면은 유사시에 그리고 전시에 신뢰할 만한 억제를 갖고 대처할 수 있게 될 것입니다. 뿐만 아니라 국방연구와 과학기술 분야에서도 협조를 강화하기로 하였습니다. 그래서 모든 전사들이 최신의 그런 준비를 할 수 있도록 저희들이 합의를 보았습니다.
Our historic alliance is stronger than ever before and is vital to the Asia-Pacific. I'm confident that we will continue to lead the region toward a more safe and secure future. So thank you again, Minister Ahn, a friend and an ally, and thank you for spending this day with us.
예, 우리의 역사적이고 중요한 한미동맹은 그 어느 때보다도 강건합니다. 그리고 아태 지역의 안보와 평화에 필수적입니다. 그리고 우리 양국의 동맹은 이 지역을 계속해서 이끌어 나갈 것으로 확신합니다. 안 장관님과 우리 국방당국자 여러분 저의 친구이시고 동맹입니다. 그렇게 귀한 회의를 이끌어 주신 데 대해 감사드립니다.
네, 시간 관계상 내외신 한 분씩만 질문을 받도록 하겠습니다. 김 기자님.
네, 감사합니다. 머니투데이 김인환입니다. 헤그세스 장관께 세 가지 질문 드리겠습니다. 첫 번째는 한미 공동 합의문에서 어떤 지금 이견이 있는지 질의 드리고요. 두 번째는 이번 SCM에서 핵 추진 잠수함 관련 논의가 이루어졌을 것으로 보이는데 미국 전쟁부는 한국의 핵 추진 잠수함이 한반도 및 인도태평양 영내에서 어떤 역할을 하기를 기대하는지 좀 궁금하고요. 마지막으로 트럼프 대통령이 핵 추진 잠수함 관련 승인했다는 것이 한국에서 잠수함을 건조하면 미국이 핵 연료를 공급할 수 있다는 의미인지 아니면 미국에서 한국의 핵 추진 잠수함을 만들라는 건지 그 의미를 좀 말씀 부탁드리겠습니다. 세 가지 질문입니다.
So report Kim from Money Today. I actually have 3 questions for you, Secretary Hegseth. First question is, what were the differences in the stances between the two countries in the joint communique? Second question is regarding the nuclear-powered submarine. I assume there had been a conversation about the fuels of nuclear-powered submarine during the security consultative meeting. What does U.S. expect? What role does U.S. expect the submarines in the Korean Peninsula and Indo-Pacific to play? What role do you expect them to play? The third question is about the approval of President Donald Trump on the provision of fuels for nuclear-powered submarines. So I want to ask what exactly those approvals were made on. So are the approvals made so that the ships could be built in Korea but can get the fuels from the United States, or are the Korean shipbuilders expected to build their ships in the U.S. territory?
Well, I would just start by saying it was not about differences. There are no differences. I think what you see is a historic deal that President Trump is the deal maker in chief. He opens up possibilities that other presidents do not, and so I think his historic meeting with President Lee created new opportunities that led to sort of an expansion of what that deal looks like, which includes our communique. And so we feel very confident about what we've included, and as soon as that deal sheet comes out, the communique is coming out as well. So there's no daylight and differences. There's simply a bigger deal, which takes a little bit more time, and we anticipate will be solidified. The next one is on nuclear-powered submarines. We're going to work closely with the Department of State and the Department of Energy to fulfill President Trump's commitment in a deliberate manner. And I think it's a reflection of something I said, that the President wants allies to be strong. He wants our allies to have the best capabilities. And because Korea has been a model ally, he's open to opportunities like that ensure they have the best capabilities in their own defense and alongside us as allies. And then as far as the details of approval, that's a little bit outside my lane, so I'm happy to not have to necessarily deal with every aspect of how that gets negotiated. But good faith talks, good faith discussions. The thing is Korea has an incredible shipbuilding industry, which we look forward to partnering with a lot more, whether it's surface warfare or submarines. So there's going to be a great deal to be made, and I think it'll be mutually beneficial to both countries.
네, 그 첫 번째 질문에서 말씀을 드리면 양국 국방 수뇌부 간의 차이는 없다라는 것이 확인되었고, 그것을 다시 한번 확인을 드리곤 합니다. 배경을 말씀드리자면 실제 한미 정상들이 만나셨을 때 이미 역사적인 딜이 합의가 된 바가 있습니다. 그래서 오죽하면 트럼프 대통령님은 역대 미국의 어떤 다른 대통령도 하지 못한 차원에서 딜을 만들어낸다 해서 Deal Maker in Chief라는 별명까지 있으신 분입니다. 그러다 보니까 두 분 정상이 만나셨을 때 예상치 못했던 범위까지 굉장히 많은 기회가 풀어지게 되었던 것이고요. 그리고 그런 내용이 공동선언문에 충실하게 반영되게 될 것입니다. 그래서 일단 앞서서 안 장관님께서 말씀하신 것처럼 조인트 팩트 시트가 조속한 시일 내에 마무리가 되면 이를 토대로 해서 저희들이 합의한 내용이 공동선언문으로 곧 발표될 것으로 그렇게 기대를 하시면 되겠습니다. 차이가 있는 것이 아니라 그만큼 딜로 합의된 내용이 크다 보니까 최종 조율에 그 시간이 걸린다는 점을 이해해 주시면 좋겠습니다. 두 번째, 핵추진 잠수함과 관련돼서 말씀을 드리겠습니다. 이것을 트럼프 대통령님께서 승인하셨다는 부분에 대해서 다시 한번 확인을 드리고, 그렇기 때문에 저희들은 당연히 군 당국으로서 의도적으로 최선을 다해서 이를 적극적으로 지원할 것입니다. 물론 이 핵추진 잠수함과 관련돼서 다른 유관기관들이 있습니다. 이것은 바로 국무부, 에너지부가 있는데 계속해서 긴밀하게 협조하게 될 것입니다. 잘 아시는 것처럼 트럼프 대통령님께서는 우리 미국의 동맹들이 강하고 또 능력이 더 제고되기를 원하십니다. 그리고 그런 차원에서 바로 대한민국이 모델과도 같은 국가인 것입니다. 그러다 보니 대한민국이 더 큰 강력한 능력, 최고의 능력을 갖는 것에 대해서 트럼프 대통령님께서 마음을 열고 승인하신 것이고, 이것이 한국의 자체 방어 능력뿐만 아니라 우리 한미 동맹에도 도움이 된다라는 확신을 가지고 계신 것입니다. 저는 이것이 구체적으로 이것이 어떤 승인 과정을 거치느냐라는 질문에 대해서 지금 제가 여기서 자세한 말씀을 드리는 것은 적절하다고 보지는 않지만, 앞으로 양국 간의 선의를 가지고 계속적인 토론을 통해서 우리가 좀 더 긍정적인 결과를 이끌어낼 것으로 확신을 합니다. 잘 아시는 것처럼 대한민국은 조선업에 관한 한 세계 유수의 세계적 수준의 능력을 가지고 있습니다. 그래서 미국 정부는 잠수함뿐만 아니라 수상함, 전투함 등 다양한 분야에서 앞으로 협력을 더욱더 확대, 심화, 강화해 나가기를 원하고 있습니다.
네, 마지막 한 분 더 받겠습니다.
One question.
In the spirit of Kachi Kapsada, I've got a question for each of you. For the Secretary, in May, the ROK Defense Ministry said U.S. forces in Korea are for the defense of the peninsula. The joint statement by the chairman yesterday mentions the deterrence beyond the Korean Peninsula. Can you comment, based on the consultations today, on whether U.S. forces in Korea can be used, if needed, for military operations against China in the Taiwan Strait, South China Sea, or East China Sea? And for the Minister, in January, the U.S. Energy Department placed South Korea on its sensitive countries list over concerns and public statements about developing nuclear weapons. Do you support South Korea building its own nuclear weapons, or if not, would you favor allowing U.S. tactical nuclear weapons to be deployed on the peninsula?
Well, thank you for the question. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
예, 같이 갑시다라는 정신하에 우리 헤그세스 장관님 그리고 안 장관님께 각각 하나씩 질문을 드리도록 하겠습니다. 첫 번째 헤그세스 장관님께 질문을 드리겠는데요. 주한미군은 한반도 방위가 주요 임무다라고 하는 한 측에서의 그런 공식적인 발표가 있었는데, 그런 반면에 어제 열렸던 군사위원회 회의의 공동선언문을 보면은 주한미군은 한반도 외부의 위협에 대해서도 관여한다라는 내용이 들어가 있는 것으로 파악하고 있습니다. 그렇다면 제가 우리 헤그세스 장관님께 드리고자 하는 질문은, 유사시 필요하다면 주한미군이 중국이 대만 해협에서 타이완을 침공하거나 아니면 동중국해, 남중국해에서 침범 또는 유사 공격 행위를 할 때 이것에 대해서도 대처하는데 사용되는 것을 인정하고 그렇게 허가하시는 것인지 헤그세스 장관님께 여쭙고요. 두 번째로 우리 안규백 장관님께 여쭙는 것은 1월 달에 미국의 에너지성에서 바로 대한민국이 핵무기 개발 우려가 있기 때문에 민간 국가로 지정이 된 바가 있습니다. 그렇다면 이와 관련돼서 우리 안 장관님께서는 대한민국이 핵무기 개발을 추진하는 것을 원하시는 입장이신지요? 그게 아니라면 최소한 미국의 전술 핵무기가 다시 한반도에 배치되기를 원하시는 것인지 궁금합니다.
Thank you for the question. There was a reason why, and it was fitting that we went to the DMZ yesterday. it reminds you of the core of this alliance, that ultimately it's holding the line and protecting our ally from the DPRK is what we have been and continue to be oriented on. But there's no doubt, flexibility for regional contingencies is something we would take a look at, but we are focused on standing by our allies here and ensuring the threat of the DPRK is not a threat to the Republic of Korea, and certainly continue to extend nuclear deterrence as we have before. So we stand by our allies. There are also a lot of threats in the world which we're prepared for, and we've had a lot of good faith conversations, but centered around ensuring that the ROC is able to, as we move forward, work with them, lead the conventional defense here on the peninsula against North Korea.
예, 저희들의 동맹이 나아갈 방향 그리고 현주소가 사실 우리 장관님과 저희가 어제 DMZ 즉 비무장지대를 방문한 데서 역사적으로 또 상징적으로 잘 드러났다라고 생각합니다. 그만큼 우리 동맹을 통해서 한반도에서 안정을 지켜서 대한민국을 지키고자 하는 그 의지가 우리에게 분명히 있다는 점을 말씀을 드립니다. 하지만 이와 동시에 우리가 영내에 다른 어떤 비상사태에 대처할 수 있는 유연성 제고가 필요한 상황이죠. 그럼에도 결과적으로는 우리가 북한의 위협이라고 하는 것에서 대처하기 위해서 어깨를 계속해 나란히 해서 그것이 대한민국의 위해가 되지 않도록 노력할 것이고 계속해서 확장 핵 억제를 우리 동맹인 대한민국에 변함없이 제공하게 될 것입니다. 이렇게 저희들이 동맹 차원에서 노력하는 동안에 또 변치 않고 우리가 직시하게 되는 현실이 세계 도처에서 여러 가지 위협이 이렇게 발생하고 있다라는 상황이고 이것에 대해서 우리 한미 양국 간에는 선의에 따른 솔직한 대화를 통해서 효과적으로 대처를 하게 될 것입니다. 그래서 결론적으로는 대북 재래식 방어에서는 대한민국이 주도적인 역할을 하게 될 것입니다.
네, 한반도 비핵화는 흔들림 없는 약속입니다. 대한민국은 NPT 체제에 가입된 나라로서 핵을 본질적으로 가질 수 없는 나라입니다. 따라서 대한민국에서 핵무기 개발은 있을 수가 없을 것입니다. 두 번째, 전술핵에 관련하여 질문을 주셨는데 전반부에 말씀드렸던 맥과 일맥상통하는 연속선상에 있기 때문에 그래서 우리가 핵을 가질 수 없기 때문에 미국의 핵과 대한민국의 재래식 무기 그래서 CNI가 체제가 구축이 된 것으로 이해를 해주시기 바랍니다. 이상입니다.
Our commitment to the denuclearization of on the Korean Peninsula remains unwavering. Republic of Korea is a member state of NPT and therefore will not acquire nuclear weapons, and therefore we will not develop any nuclear weapons here in Korea. Moving on to your second question about the deployment of U.S. tactical nuclear weapons on the Korean Peninsula, my answer also aligns with my answer earlier. As we are not going to develop our own nuclear weapon, there is a strong need for us to combine the use of Korea's conventional forces and the United States nuclear capability, resulting in a conventional nuclear integration initiative.
네.
기자회견 마치겠습니다.
Would now like to conclude the joint press briefing.